Hey, we're just about a week away from the official puck drop to the NHL regular season. We know you guys out there involved in fantasy drafts want a little extra help. That's why Marty's here to give you some goaltending advice on who to take in your fantasy draft. Let's start with the goaltenders. And of course, the big question, Marty, is Andrei Vasilevsky. We know now he's going to be gone 8 to 12 weeks because of the injury and that back problem. The question is how long it's going to keep him out. Is he automatically on your do not draft list, or would you take a risk with Vasilevsky?
He's on my do not draft list right now. If you have injured reserve spot, maybe later in the draft, you can waste one of those spots and go get Vasilevsky and say, maybe later down the road, I can activate him if he's back healthy and producing. But if you don't have IR spots, or if you're looking to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to take him anyway, and then we'll see. Maybe he can still get me 30 wins. I would say stay away from that. Here's the reason. First of all, he's going to miss the first 2 months, maybe more of the regular season. So that is a lot of games that you're missing out. And two, it is a back issue. It was a back surgery. Who knows how long it's going to take Vasilevsky to come back and be in full form once he returns. Maybe you're already into January when you think Vasilevsky's in full form. All of a sudden, you only have 40 games left. Where's he going to get? 20 wins out of that? I think there's so much better out there that you can get than taking a flyer on Vasilevsky right now. I think that's very high risk, Gino, and I would stay away from drafting Andrei Vasilevsky at the start of the season.
Wow. Okay. So ordinarily, Vasilevsky would be right up there amongst the top 1, 2, or 3 goaltenders to pick. With him out of the mix now, who would you look at if you were going to take a goalie and take him with an early pick?
With an early pick, I think there's 2 that I would look at. One is Igor Shesterkin. Look, he's got a solid backup in Jonathan Quick, but I think Jonathan Quick is going to play maybe 20, 25 games this year. So that leaves still 55 to 60 games for Igor Shesterkin. There's a really good chance he could get to 40 wins. There's a really good chance with that defense core that they have with the Rangers that I really like. He could get 6, 7 shutouts this season. And if you put all of those together, that's a lot of points, right? I understand that. Goalies at times, you're not looking at them and saying, hey, I'm going to pick him early. But if there's one that I would say go for it, it would be Shesterkin. And the second one would be Connor Hellebuck. But obviously, we don't know what Winnipeg is going to have. But we know Hellebuck is a workhorse, plays a ton. So those are the 2 that I would look at. But definitely leaning more towards Shesterkin for an early draft pick that would be worthwhile to spend on.
All right, let's make our way now down the fantasy draft list. Of course, obviously the snipers are going to go early and often. So you take those guys out of the mix. All your top goal scorers are gone. Now you're making your way down the middle of the draft. The big number offensive guys are gone. Who would you look at taking a goaltender around those picks?
Well, if you do what I do, is I like to wait a little bit later and get some really good value from goaltenders that could be in the middle of the draft and could get you close to what the top goaltenders are going to do. And there's one on my list, and it's Thatcher Demko. I think Vancouver is going to have definitely a bounce back season. And a healthy Thatcher Demko is a top 10 goaltender in the National Hockey League. Well, last year it didn't show that, and the Vancouver Canucks didn't show that either. So maybe there's a lot of, fantasy players out there that are saying, I'm scared of Thatcher Demko. He didn't give you the results last year. But what we saw 2 years ago is going to be more what we're going to see out of Thatcher Demko this year. So if you're in the middle rounds or spending middle money on, and you want somebody that's going to get you, first of all, will play a ton, and number 2, should get you result, I'm definitely all in with Thatcher Demko in the middle rounds, kind of a middle pick when it comes to goaltenders.
All right, if you're going to win a fantasy draft, you've got to pick a sleeper who came out of nowhere and gives you way better numbers than anybody's ever seen him do in the past. Is there a sleeper goalie that you think, if this guy falls low enough down, and no one else knows about him, but I do, who's that?
Well, for me, it's also because of the team. And I'm looking at the Seattle Kraken, who had a fantastic year last year, made the playoffs. And they play half the season with Martin Jones. But in the second half, it was Philip Grubauer who was the guy. And the healthy Philip Grubauer is the number 1 goaltender, playing 60 games this year. And if Seattle can have the same success they did last year or even more as a team, I think you're getting a lot of points, fantasy points, with a goaltender like Philip Grubauer. And you can wait until later in the draft to be able to pick up a goalie like him. So look for those type of goaltenders, good teams with the goalies that may not have the the status as a top-tier NHL goaltender, I think Philip Grubauer really fits that mold. And there's a couple of other guys. These are more up-and-comer. Maybe you're taking a chance on Logan Thompson with the Vegas Golden Knights. He started with the Knights last season. Fortunately, he dealt with an injury, and that's where we saw Adin Hill come through with Laurent Brossoit before him with the Vegas Golden Knights. But if Logan Thompson plays and plays a lot with Vegas, he'll have success. And Devin Levi, a goaltender that is young, only 21 years of age, but in his first full year in the National Hockey League could have some surprises in Buffalo. So those would be two very, very high-risk type of goaltender that I may take a chance. But Grubauer is definitely another candidate for that.
There you have it, Poolies. Everything you need to know about goaltending going into your fantasy draft, the world according to Marty Biron. And if you disagree with them, the comments are open. Let us know what you have to think.